What's happening right now? Are we already live? Notification. I think it's our second stream.
All right.
Oh.
So, good morning, guys. Apologies for the confusion. I was trying to get the live to pop into the live that we already had scheduled, but I'm struggling to figure that one out. But it seems like most of you guys are in here. For those of you who are still waiting, let me just go ahead and post the link to could you guys let the guys know that there is another join that stream instead. Jesus.
And don't forget to hit those likes as well. Let's get that up. It helps push the video out.
All right. Seems like we have around 25 people over here. So while we do wait for more people to join the stream, please go ahead, hit the like, hit the subscribe. You guys know what to do. Kusha, how's your morning going thus far?
Oh, brilliant! Besides the little mess up that we had here, technical difficulties, guys.
Learning curve, guys.
Yes, 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 yes.
So today's.
Go on.
Now, I was just gonna tell the guys in here that today's live stream is gonna be really casual. Krish and I are pretty much just going to be going through the charts like we usually do every Monday morning when we open a brand new week. We thought we'd share that process with you guys. We'd like to do this a little bit earlier in the day. Unfortunately, we did have internet issues, so yeah, if you guys do like these morning live streams super early, let us know in the comments down below. Leave a comment down below. Don't leave a live chat message, because that's really hard for us to track those.
Yeah, or you know what? I think YouTube now, so many of the channels, they have like this community tab wherein I think people can post polls in there. So I think what I'll do is I'll go post a poll and let me know what your thoughts are in terms of timing. If you guys want us to continue the live streams, I'll give you guys like little, options on timing, and then you guys can just go and upvote the one that works for you. And whichever one has the most upvotes, we'll just go with that time slot. Does that work? Does that work? Does that work?
That works.
Oh, Across Canada is in here. What's up, man? It's been a while. I think ever since daylight savings hit, or rather it ended in North America, I think the timings have been like totally thrown off.
Yeah. It was around that time that were less Canadians and Americans that were able to join our live streams. Yeah, unfortunately, kind of threw off the people living in UK, Netherlands, etc. as well. To be honest, I hate the daylight savings concept. Makes no sense to me. It's so archaic.
All right, Garima's in here. How's it going? Good morning.
Garima. We have Old Man in here as well. We're gonna miss Mock today, though, unfortunately.
IJ's on his way to work. He's rushing to work right now. So I was just like, run, Forrest, run. But yeah, he's gonna be tuning in. And Gamer, what's up, man? Good morning.
Chauvin mentioned how he uses these live streams in podcast mode, where he plays them in the background when he can't watch live, when he's doing other things like washing the dishes. We should upload these audio clips into like a podcast format for people.
Yeah. So how many of you guys actually, like, you know, if you guys missed the live stream, how many of you actually go back to check it out? Because if a lot of you guys are doing that, what I'll start doing is I'll start adding timestamps on the major sort of, you know, the major concepts that we cover in the live streams. Hopefully that helps people, you know, get to the part that they want to get to. Bread Garlic House. I love that name. Now I'm hungry. Bitcoin Symmetrical Triangle breakout soon. Running out of room. Yeah, I'm looking at that too. But have you noticed though? It's like there's an interesting bear flag playing out as well. However, I think patience is going to be key to see where this breaks. I think Bitcoin is looking interesting, but more than Bitcoin, actually. I don't know. How many of you guys are looking at Cardano right now? Cardano is also looking very interesting. But hey, I'm not going to suck the fun out of this stream. We'll wait until we hit the charts.
I'm wondering, how do I cancel the stream? The previous stream, not this stream. The one I scheduled that I messed up. There aren't people waiting there.
Snap.
Yeah, there's still 14 people waiting there, unfortunately. Just say private.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now it says the video is unavailable. Like if I'm looking at it through my account, it says it's unavailable.
That should be good.
Yeah.
People should get the message.
So how's everyone's month? Actually, no, North Americans and Europeans, I guess you guys are pretty much just wrapping up your Sundays. So how was the weekend? Let's start with that. Anyone do any trading? Any interesting charts to be looking at right now? And what are your thoughts? Bitcoin. So we had the Bitcoin conference over this past weekend.
Ooh, did you guys watch that?
Yeah,
fun.
did you guys watch that?
Did you guys watch Max Kaiser? I think it was Old Man who mentioned in the Grove chat that he literally came on stage screaming "F Elon," and you used the actual words, right? He wasn't politically correct. Like I'm trying to be over here, and I didn't believe. I thought Old Man was just like kidding around or like, you know, like misrepresenting the situation in some form or the other. And then Krisha mentioned it too. I'm like, no way, he actually did that. I'm like, oh my god, Kaiser. God damn, after all these years, he hasn't changed. He hasn't changed. He lost his voice. He actually lost his voice.
It was so funny because I was watching it on my PC, but the energy in that segment when he just enters the stage and he walks on, I'm just like, wait a minute, I you know, this little PC is just not doing it justice. I had to go and put it on the big screen, so I actually just went and cast it on my big screen because it was that good. Like the energy in this man, holy moly. That was a very good segment.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, a little bit off topic, but I just noticed in the live chat somebody mentioned Rodrigo mentioned I'm accumulating tries, and that caught my eye because so Rodrigo, we don't talk about those kind of coins over here, mostly to protect the community members, but I had a massive win on tries. Kush and I got in at around I think it was $3.50, $4, but we added drastically at around $7, $6.50ish, $6.55ish or something, and that shot up within the next 2 days to like around $30, and we only ended up getting out around 24, 23ish though. But yeah, what's it sitting at now? Tries. It was last I checked, it was dumping, but that one.
Yeah, that was a pretty freaking. That was an amazing. That was a very quick win. If you think that. That time we traded tries, it was such a quick win. It moved up so fast, and that's the volatility that you're gonna find in the crypto market. Those are the swings, and it sort of reminded me. It was very akin to what we saw in the last bull market. Remember that? That's how fast. And it was not just so. This was just tries, but I want you guys to imagine, at least those of you who are like new here, at least you just joined the whole crypto space. The last bull market, almost every coin was shooting up that way. It was insane. It was absolute insanity.
Everything. It was hard to not make money. Rodrigo says it's sitting at around $7.25. It'll be interesting. If Bitcoin breaks down over here, maybe we get it cheaper again. But yeah, just wait for the trend on that one. But Krisha, I think it's time to start the stream.
Yes,
so
sir.
Let's go ahead and Boom! Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. My name is Sean Dexter, as many of you know. For those of you who don't know, hey, welcome to the Mango Grove. We're gonna have a great time over here. Krisha and I are very chill, relaxed. Yeah, so have a seat, get comfy, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification icon while you're here. Today's live stream is going to be a tad bit different. Kush and I are essentially going to be looking through the charts like we normally do every weekly open, and we fixate, or rather focus, on the high time frames, essentially the weekly and the 4-day. The 4-day being the Mango time frame, my favorite time frame. Kusha is a fan of the weekly, of course, and there's interesting things going on both of those time frames. So we will start with the weekly. We'll take a quick look at the dashboard too, actually. Kusha, you know what?
Hold up.
Yeah?
First off, guys, are we both audible? So now Old Man says that no audio. I think that was a question posed. Is the volume okay? Let us know. Because now it's like a Mango signature wherein, you know, the audio is always off at the beginning of the stream, and I think that's freaking hilarious.
No, he says, oh no, it was just him. Wow,
okay, cool. And guys, hit those likes. It helps push the video out, and it's good for the channel. So hit those likes and let's get on with this. Let's get this party started. Man.
I was talking to Sherwin, and we talked over the phone over the weekend, and we were talking about how the audio always somehow manages to get cut off during the streams. And while we were talking about that, the audio got cut off on the phone call. And he was like, hey, can you hear me? Hey, are you here? I'm like, you're trolling me, man. You're trolling me. And it actually ended up happening at that very moment. So it is...
Oh, God, that's funny. So, it's a Mango thing now.
Yeah, it's definitely a Mango thing. Hey, Riot, thank you for the subscribe. Riot Deloof, that's actually a really cool name. So yeah, Kush, I'm looking at the weekly over here. I'm looking at the Mango dynamic. So this is how we're going to do it, guys. Weekly Mango dynamic, weekly... Ichimoku, and hey, we should look at the dashboard. Let's do that first. We should just do a quick run through of the dashboard of the time frames that are important. I'm gonna pull up mine really quick. Kusha, do I have it here? Yep, right over here. All right, so we're gonna start with the daily on the dashboard, right, as a anchor, and then we're gonna look at the time frames around the daily. So it's really interesting to note that Bitcoin on the daily 7 days ago switched to neutral, and that's essentially what Bitcoin has been doing, right? It has pretty much been ranging on the daily time frame. It's been in a consolidation mode, right? So neutral, consolidation, pretty much the same thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 12 hour. Is there anything interesting over there? Okay, Bitcoin currently short, switched 1.2 days ago on the 12-hour time frame. So the 12-hour time frame is saying your best bet is leaning towards the downside. And that does make sense as well, considering what's going on. Now let's go ahead and look at the 2-day time frame. I'm expecting it to still be short. Yep, it's been short for 21 days now. Pretty much called the move at the right time. Unfortunately, we were not part of the move. And what about the 4-day? This is where it gets really interesting, Kusha. The 4-day switched long 10 days ago. So I'm really interested in seeing how this unfolds, and this actually lines up with what we're going to be talking about on the charts. Because remember, guys, the 4-day is the higher. We use the 4-day as a mid-term proxy for the weekly time frame, right? Because the weekly tends to either get front run, or you get the move a tad bit too late. The 4-day really gets it, right? It's like it's the 12-hour of the weekly time frame, right? That's why I like to. So yeah, Kusha, we're going to switch back on over to the charts now, and I want you to give everyone your thoughts on your initial look of the weekly time frame.
I think the weekly is, honestly, guys, I think we're sandwiched in a really narrow range, and I think that range is best depicted. Now, this actually was brought up by someone in the chat, like just now in the live chat. Someone spoke about the symmetrical triangle that's playing out. That is, believe it or not, the current range that Bitcoin is kind of squeezing in, which kind of goes in from 39.5k going all the way down to around 34.3k-ish. And it's honestly, Sean, I think depending on where that freaking symmetrical triangle breaks, that is going to be the first tip off on where we go from there. And not just that, on the weekly time frame, so I'm looking at the Ichimoku Cloud, price relative to the Ichimoku Cloud. By the way, we use the double settings. For those of you who do not have those settings, you guys can just go ahead and sign up for the Mango ribbon, and it's like a default thing that we include in there. Okay, so I'm noticing that price, while it was so slight, it was ever so slight, but we closed over the Kijun there, Sean.
Yeah. So
We,
this
I,
is what we were looking for. In my opinion, both these honestly, all three candle closes were, um, leaning towards the bullish side, right? Especially when you got last week's candle close and now this week's candle close as well, opened above. Looks like the bulls are trying to hold ground over here, right? They're not willing to let the bears have their way.
yeah, but I want to see the 4-hour getting picked up now. Because right now we're sort of we're being held down by the 4-hour 21 EMA. So
But
as soon as
Kusha,
ideally they start,
you're going all over the place. We want to focus on the weekly and the 4 day at the moment. We don't want to be
yeah, okay, yeah.
okay.
Sorry,
So
I'm
yeah,
getting excited because everything is like squeezing right now. But no, I see your point. Weekly, I think it's still very much in a range. Depending on where we break from here, that's going to tip us off. And measured move, guys, symmetrical triangle.
you're looking at a symmetrical
Yeah,
triangle
and I
on
think
the
that should
weekly
take us
time
up
frame.
to, yes, I think that should take us up to, I think, 50K?
50K.
50K-ish, around, yeah, around that region.
Okay, yeah, I was looking at that as well, but I'm not seeing a weekly symmetrical triangle. It's more so on the daily, the 2 day, and perhaps one formulating on the 4 day time frame. Now that would be my ideal break of a symmetrical triangle, a 4 day consolidation, high lows breaking. So again, guys, I did discuss my thought process on Bitcoin, how this consolidation is likely to unfold last week. Like, I did a detailed video on it. Now those of you who are actually interested in learning, I highly recommend you guys just going back and watching that video. It's last week, I believe, the middle of the week. So we can rehash that in today's stream, but let's focus though mainly on what's happening on the weekly and the 4 day. Now again, Krisha talked about how we've retaken the Kijun, or rather we've closed above the Kijun. So we have the past three weekly candles are all green. Really good signs for this being a potential. Remember guys, potential, we don't know yet for sure. It depends on the symmetrical triangle that Krisha just mentioned. Which direction does it break? Right now it's looking good, right? It looks like the bears are beginning to either get exhausted or take profits at these levels, and they're probably saying to themselves, you know what, we'd rather wait for a bounce where we reshort into this market. And they're probably looking towards the weekly Tenkin, which the weekly 21 EMA is now shooting down to around 42,000, let's say 43,000.
Yeah, 43, yeah.
Okay, now this weekly price action over here is reminding me a lot of what happened during or rather right after the COVID dump, right? We saw the massive move towards the downside, and then everyone was expecting that bearish follow through, including us, and we didn't see that. Instead, we saw bounces that were sold into, yes, but each candle closed green while drifting upwards, right? We had higher lows on each of those weekly candles, right? So you can see that each of those tips of those lows were higher than the previous weeks. Now, of course, during the COVID episode, it was a lot more aggressive. This time around, it's looking a lot more it could go either way, right? Like, it's the high lows don't have that much of an aggressive slope to them, but they're still there. Nonetheless, they're still there, right? So with that, that's the weekly Ichimoku. We have Kijun support underneath. We have the 21 EMA overhead, as well as the Tenkin between 43,000 and 47,000. That's essentially a zone of resistance on your weekly time frame that we can go ahead and mark out right over there. Okay, guys? You agree, Kusha?
Yes, I'm in line with you.
Now let's look at the dynamic, Krisha. This is where the dynamic catches it and the Ichimoku has not been catching it, right? This is where the dynamic has been keeps you in the trade efficiently, right? This is what it was essentially built for. Like, we always had the Ichimoku prior to having the dynamic, but what we found was that we were either getting to trades far too early and our capital was being allocated inefficiently, or we were getting out of trades far too late. And right over here, you can see that even though we are closing above the above the Kijun on the Ichimoku, the dynamic is saying otherwise. The dynamic is saying, hey, yes, things might be looking good, but it's not there yet, right? It's not there yet because we're still underneath the dynamics resistance level, coming in between this zone over here at around 37,000 and overhead 38,500.
Yeah. In fact, I'll be honest with you, Sean, like the entire weekly picture right now, right? So we had like this crazy dump, followed by The first one was a doji. Second was also a doji. So it's pretty much indecision point. But overall, if you kind of look at the picture right now on the weekly time frame, I think that the bears are still in control. So while we even talk about these bounces, right? So we're talking about a bounce to say 50K if the symmetrical triangle actually does play out to the upside. I think that the decision point in whether or not the bulls are actually going to take over is if we start ultimately putting in that structure. That structure is going to be so key, right? And if you guys want to get a good sort of grip on what it is that we're looking for, just go back to the COVID dump. Go back to the COVID dump, and I want you guys to assess that structure there. So we dumped all the way back to 3K, believe it or not. And like Sean had mentioned, we started putting in a series of green candles. Even though these green candles were met with a swift sell-off, they were still highs. They were just, they were inching up ever so slowly, right? Putting in highs, lower highs, higher highs, lower highs. And then suddenly you see a bullish structure just being set in. And everyone was still bearish in that juncture. So that's why keep your eyes peeled on the structure here. That is going to be very important. Now, Sean, so you were just talking about the downside with price relative to the dynamic, right? And I think the dynamic is pretty much calling this one right now at, just overall, the overall picture right now is still leaning on the bearish end.
Yep.
What are your thoughts? Do you see the bear flag?
So yes. So this is how I'm seeing it. Until I see what I'm looking for on the 4-day time frame, this is more likely to break towards the downside than towards the upside. Now that's what the TA is telling me. So I'm not going to be getting overly bullish on any of my trades, right? I'm going to be range trading and then taking it one step at a time, right? So you guys know I'm a trend trader at heart, and I love riding the trend. But you got to call a spade when you see a spade, and there's an environment where you can trend trade, and there's an environment where you need to be range trading. And yes, you can leave a part of your trade. In fact, Kusha, we can go over the Solana trade. That's the only trade I'm in at the moment, right? And we can talk about how I've developed that trade, or rather progressed that trade. But that was an example of how, hey, we took profits at a range, right? Left some in, the range broke, re-added to the trade, and now we're riding the trend again to the next range, right? We can talk about that as an example. But at the moment, right, Bitcoin is one, it's still in a major downtrend on all the high time frames, and two, it is range bound on even the mid time frames. So the weekly, like you said, is underneath the dynamic. But let's look at the 4-day, right? What's the 4-day doing? And when I look at the 4-day is also not giving me the picture I want just yet. And Krisha, if you go back to the Christmas where we caught that huge trade, right? The 4-day has been like pretty much giving us the same trade on every consolidation and break towards the upside that Bitcoin has given us over the past like 2 years now. I believe it was right over here. Right? The same thing, consolidation. But this is the 4-day. Kusha, sorry, I just realized you can't see my screen. I'm looking at the consolidation zone between the 25th of November 2019, Krisha, right, to the first week of Jan 2020, right? Do you remember that trade?
Yeah.
Where we consolidated on the 4-day time frame, right? But during the interim, on the daily, on the 2-day, people were getting faked out and chopped up all the time. But you and I were on vacation during that period, and we said, hey, we're going to be patient, wait for that 4-day break. And we kept telling, all we did every day on those daily videos was, we came on here and said, just wait for the break, guys, wait for the 4-day break. And we got it. We eventually got into the trade. It was a great trade. And then again, I really recommend you guys go back to that period, watch this entire trading journey over here, even the profits that we took at the top, and why we took it, etc. It's all documented, and you guys can learn just from that. So now I'm looking for something similar, right? I'm not saying, and I can't say that it's going to happen that way, but if it does, we have a playbook ready on how to play it, right? It's going to be the same thing in my opinion, Kusha. Once we get the 4-day break above the dynamic zone over here at around 40,000, we're going to ride it to the next resistance level at around 51,000 first, and then 58,000 second. If and only if we break that, right, then we start going aggressive for the big wins all the way up to perhaps 75,000, 100,000, etc. But similar to how back then I wasn't going to get readily bullish, ultra bullish, until we broke 10,450. I kept saying that every day on those videos. 10,450, right? That was the key level. We did not break it, so we did not get ultra bullish, even though we are riding the 4-day trend. Now again, keep in mind, guys, that the 4-day, each candle has 4 days within it. So this period, even though it looks like it was a short period over here, guys, all the way back in November 2019, it took a good 45 days for this trade to play out. During that interim, people are getting chopped out, losing their accounts, losing patience, and just they lost focus. And then when the trade actually did trigger, they weren't in it. So try not to lose focus, and that's what I'm looking for, guys. Essentially, long story short, this could turn into that where it breaks towards the upside, or it could break towards the downside. Either way, we have a clear boundary over here where if we break 40,000, we know what to look for. It's for the upside. If we break around 32,000, we know what to look for. It's towards the downside, right? Easy. The dynamic right now is marking it. So sorry for the rant, Kusha, but yeah, hope that helps.
Yeah, no, I think that's important because that's what we're about here. You got to sort of keep a holistic sort of view on the market right now. So price could move to the upside, it could also move to the downside. And what's important though is that we have those boundaries. So as soon as price breaks on either side, we know, all right, it's the bulls that are taking over, or hell, it's the bears that are taking over. And it ultimately boils down to that. So yeah, I think upside target is 50K-ish. Downside, Sean, downside targets. What are your downside targets?
25,000. I'm looking at the break of the symmetrical / ascending triangle, blah blah blah, whatever you want to call it, on the mid to lower time frames is pointing towards 25,000. I'm rounding up. I'm rounding, of course, right? So
yeah, if we don't hold, actually no, if we get to 25K, I'm saying that we're likely going to come down to
23. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the structure on 23ish. So yeah,
that's going to be
that's a 4-day dynamic. Should we take a look at the 4-day Ichimoku? Something interesting is going on over there as well, Kusha. Looking more bearish. The 4-day Ichimoku has a more bearish signature than any other time frame, in my opinion. That's like your classical bear flag right over there.
Oh shucks, yeah, I didn't see that. Damn, not just that. The Kishun is just holding this baby down.
Yep.
This is aggressive.
A lot of confluence over here, and it's telling the story, right, that patience is going to be rewarded over here. But at the same time, if you do understand just basic trading concepts, right, just basic trading concepts, that's all you need in this trading environment to play the support and resistance in the direction of whichever trend you're leaning towards, right? Let's say you're bearish, well, you trade only the short trades towards the range, towards the bottom of the range, and you take your profits and then wait for the next one, right? If you're bullish, well, you only play the bounces to the range again, and then you wait for the next one, right? And there's a lot of money that is being made over here, right? The seedlings that are PMing me, and there's this one dude who literally PM'd me just this weekend saying that he's made a lot of money just trading the support and resistance module in the C program. Literally just trading the support and resistance. He's not using anything else. He's just using the support and resistance module. He's been making money. So you guys can keep it as simple as you want to keep it, or you can make it very, very difficult and complicated. But as long as you're profitable, I'd rather keep it as simple as needed, instead of feeling fancy and like a smart ass by adding complexity when I don't need to.
Yeah, and I think it's just about determining, right? So what kind of market condition are we in right now? And right now, guys, honestly, this is a trader's market, like the ultimate trader's market, because this is a support and resistance kind of market. I think there's so much to be made on the ranges right now, not just on Bitcoin, but even many of the altcoins that you can even trade on leverage. You can make quite a bit just trading the freaking ranges. And why is that? Think about it, guys. On the way up, right? So when we saw this run in the past from Jan leading up to March, we saw many of these altcoins actually make their way to the upside, but those moves were volatile. All right, they moved fast, and this is something that I keep repeating on in many of my videos, is that when it does start to taper off, and we get like a trend change, even if it's like an intermediate trend change, the downside move is going to be equally volatile. And volatility, by the way, is a good thing. If you're a trader, you're here to make money, volatility is a very, very good thing.
Well said, Kusha, well said.
And so those ranges that you can play are significant ranges. Like, it's like a good 20 to 30% on the range.
Yep. All right. So looking at the 4-day now, essentially, guys, there's a trade right over here to be looking at. Essentially, if we do close a 4-day candle, ideally you'd want to look for a 4-day candle close along with a daily right after that. If above 38,000, if you see that, there is a move right all the way to, like Krisha said, a 25% range trade all the way to the Tenkin. Initial profits could be taken at the 21 EMA at around 45,000, but the Tenkin would be my target for a C-span trade all the way up to 47,677. So 4-day close above the Kijun triggers a trade all the way to the Tenkin at around 47,677, and that is a 25% move. Initial profits can be taken just to secure some of that at the 21 EMA, because I do see the 21 EMA on the 4-day time frame being some level of resistance. In fact, we can go ahead and turn on the 10 SMA real quick. What that is saying.
The 10 SMA has just been leaning bearish, I think, on all the time frames.
That's coming in the middle of the range at around 43,000. All right, that's really interesting. Okay, cool. So Krisha, that's the 4-day, and we can pretty much stop over there, but I do want to go ahead and show people the 2-day and the daily, the ascending triangle or symmetrical triangle, depending on what time frame you're looking at. In fact, you know what, let's go ahead and mark out. I do have it marked on another chart.
Sean, by the way, is looking at an ascending triangle, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm leaning.
Which is okay. Yeah.
Because it's more so because horizontals. Like whenever I can find a horizontal to work with, I'd rather work with the horizontal because it removes the bias out of the situation. In fact, we were having a conversation on the Grove this weekend around something similar, right? And by the way, guys, if you guys are not in the Discord, go ahead and join. You guys can find us at themangoway.com/discord. And again, for those of you who have not hit the like yet, please go ahead and do that.
Yes. Let's get those likes up, guys. There's 198 watching and only 67 likes. Come on, we can bring those likes up.
Yeah, so right over here, I'm looking at the daily time frame. And I'm looking at this as an ascending triangle. But those of you who followed our Ethereum trade, right, that we took, this was, of course, a different posturing on the Ethereum trade, but there's a similar concept that we can use from that video, right, where you can use the combination of the ascending triangle as well as the potential symmetrical triangle, depending on how you want to draw this diagonal over here. And Krisha, that's coming in at a juncture. There's a key area at around 39,000-ish that's lining up with the ascending triangle as well as the symmetrical triangle's resistance line towards the upside, right? Are you seeing it?
Yeah. Yes.
Right, this does if we do break this towards the upside, we are pointing towards 50,000. If we break this towards the downside, again, depends on where we break. Let's say we break over here where we are at, it does point to around 23,800-ish. We can go ahead and put a horizontal right over
go
there.
Ahead and put on your
look at that, guys. Do you guys see that? Krisha, I put a horizontal at around 24,290-ish, and that is essentially what the measured move is pointing towards, and that lines up perfectly with a bull flag on the daily time frame that broke towards the upside all the way back on 24th December 2020, right? Again, this was during our Christmas vacation. God, I love Christmas. Bitcoin seems to love Christmas too, but yeah, it seems like if we do break down, we'll be retracing down to that zone over there before we see some resistance. Losing that level does point to an initial start to stop at around 22,000, but eventually 19,000. Hey, let's hope it doesn't get to that though. But there's a trade to be had nonetheless if it does. Thoughts, Krisha?
Yeah, no, I agree with the targets for the most part. I think breaking 22K is gonna have it's gonna have some further bearish implications. That does not necessarily have to be a bad thing as long as you're on the right side of this trade. Remember, there are two sides here, and you can make money on both sides. So as long as you're on the right side, I think there is much to be had. The ranges are going to be volatile because of how volatile the move was to the upside. But yeah, eyes peeled on the break here.
All right. So with that, let's go ahead and look at the oscillators really quick, Krisha. I'm interested in see how the daily oscillators have developed since we last looked at them. And over here, this does have bullish divergence that flipped into bearish divergence. By the way, guys, you're seeing high highs on the oscillator, but no high highs on your price, right? So this may break down actually very soon, Krisha. This is I don't want to say it will break down, but it's not the best look in my opinion. At the same time, this we essentially have a channel formulating on the RSI over here that could keep going, right? We don't know. Again, if the bearish divergence doesn't see any follow through, this could flip again into triple, quadruple bullish divergence where it does eventually see the break. So really right now it is a battle between the bulls and the bears as to which direction this does see a break. And the stochastics are crossing towards the downside. Not the best look, finding resistance at the mid zone of the stochastics, the 50 zone. So we're finding resistance over here, which is lining up with a consolidation move, yes, which is imminent, which is indicating an imminent breakout, right? We are going to be seeing something very soon, but again, it really depends on whether you are looking at the daily time frame or the 4-day time frame. This is what I'm looking for, Krisha. And this is, might sound a little bit more complicated. I'm looking for a breakout on the daily time frame, perhaps towards the upside, right? But it does not see follow through. We do not see follow through. Instead, we just whipsaw back into the range, and then we start seeing that structure on the 4-day time frame formulate. Does that make sense? Right? So I'm looking for a whipsaw on the daily time frame, essentially putting in a higher low on the 4-day time frame along with a pivot high for us to work off with on the 4-day, right? Because the 4-day stochastics, Risha, look at those. Again, we've talked about this before in the past videos, but each time the 4-day stochastics have come this low around the 20 zone, it has lined up with a rally for Bitcoin over the next days, right? The last time we came down this low was actually the COVID dump. Prior to that was actually the move before we tested 10,000, right? Prior to that was the China pump that we had. Prior to that was the 3,000 dump that we had from 6,000. So usually 4-day stochastics coming this low does eventually lead to consolidation and a break towards the upside. Now, this could take a while though, right? We could stay down here for maybe 4 4-day candles, maybe 10 4-day candles, and that's an entire month. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I wouldn't be too excited.
Good find on the Stokes though. I did not see that. I think there's that's a good signature. A really good signature find on the 4-day.
Yeah, I think
it's definitely tough. We'll have to wait on this break.
It's a trader's market.
You're exactly your thing on the whipsaw. So guys, we've been trading Bitcoin now for quite a few years, and Bitcoin has this effery moment every now and then, especially on symmetrical triangle squeeze situations, basically the one that we're currently in, wherein it whipsaws. So it takes out traders on the upside and it takes out traders on the downside. So it's usually the visual on this would be a quick move to the upside and then a quick sell off to the downside, and usually on one candle.
Yep.
And that's essentially what Sean is talking about.
Yep.
What that does, more often than not, it does not really follow through with a break in either direction. If anything, it just widens the range of the current consolidation that we're in.
Exactly.
It's of course it's premature right now because we still don't have a tell on it. I'd just say keep your eyes peeled on the closes. I'm gonna be very critical on seeing a candle body close losing either one of the boundaries. If we have to move to the upside, I'll be looking for a close over the upper boundary. If we're moving to the downside, I'll be looking for a sweet candle body close on onto the downside. How about we start taking some questions, Sean?
Yep. So just to wrap up, guys, overhead resistance on the 4-day is coming in around 46,000 to around 51,000 on the weekly time frame. We're looking majorly at around 45,000 to around 48,000. So remember, use your multi-time frame analysis skills that we've been teaching over here, especially if you guys are on the C program. Use it in conjunction to find these range trade opportunities. You can take trades on a certain time frame, leave some of your portion in for the next time frame to consolidate itself, or rather resolve itself is the better word. And then lots of, like Krish has been mentioning, massive opportunity in this volatile range. So yeah, let's go ahead and take some questions, Krisha.
Ready. Okay, let's go. Wow, so many people. By the way, 211 watching, 96 likes. Let's get those likes up, mangoes. Someone in here was asking earlier about apparently the news out there, Sean, is all of this is price manipulation. Bitcoin's price action that dumped to the downside. What are your thoughts on price manipulation? I feel like this is always like a recurring sort of theme in every dump. You know, every time there's like a massive move to the downside, there's this entire narrative on price manipulation, in the market.
All markets are manipulated. The sheer act of you actually selling your coins or buying coins is a form of manipulation of the market, right? So someone being able to manipulate the market is just his ability to exert his buying or selling power onto the market. So every market is manipulated by default. Just assume that, and yeah, you'll be a much better trader once you understand that. Now, if people are referring to like Elon Musk and his tweets, etc., those kind of short-term moves shouldn't really impact your trading. In fact, the signs were on the charts way before even Elon said what he did, and what he did was essentially just the catalyst both times, right? From the massive breakdown from the 55k zone, and even this weekend, right, where a lot of influencers were getting really upset at Elon for the failed breakout that Bitcoin had. They're blaming him. Okay, let me switch on over to a lower time frame. I believe it was somewhere around here. Yeah, it was around here. This one, where firstly, it was never a breakout, right? We were talking about this on the Discord as well. Again, join the Discord, themangoway.com/Discord if you haven't yet. And we were talking about this where someone asked, Sean, what do you think of this breakout? And my answer was like, it's not a breakout. I don't believe this is a breakout. It's not yet. And again, this lines up with the video I did on Bitcoin from last week where I said, hey guys, it's going to play out over a period of time. We're looking for that ascending triangle or symmetrical triangle consolidation formation to formulate on the daily, get rejected on the initial breakout, formulate on the 4-day, and then eventually perhaps see that continuation. This is going to take time. So if I'm seeing it that way, far before Elon even tweeted or said anything about Bitcoin, and that was when Bitcoin was sitting around here, right? My video was when Bitcoin was sitting around here. And if I'm seeing it that way as a trader, there are other traders who are also seeing it that way. And when they see that opportunity to sell into the market, to take profits, perhaps even add some short pressure, well, they're going to take that opportunity to do so. And if Elon is giving them that catalyst, they'll take that as well, right? Let's say there's some traders on the fence as to whether they should sell or not, or whether they should short or not at a key resistance level like this one. Well, they see the Elon tweet, they're like, all right, that's good enough for me, let's go. This is my catalyst, right? So, guys, everything is manipulation. You gotta be a trader regardless.
Amen.
All right, so Kusha, with that, we can go ahead and talk about Cardano really quick. We're already 45 minutes into the stream, so we're running a little bit short on time. What are your thoughts on Cardano? I'm looking at the weekly time frame to begin with.
Okay, I'm looking. So the weekly, I believe, is looking good. I'm noticing that we're still holding that weekly bullish structure. Believe it or not, guys, Cardano is one of those outliers that has not lost the weekly bullish structure.
Yeah.
Okay, I still think that it's maintaining the structure. In fact, the major region I was looking for Cardano to live over comes in at $1.52. Sean, the crows are there behind you. I think they're signaling a bull market again.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
But okay, so $1.52. I think we've held it. In fact, the week of 24th of May, that close, we closed well over that, only for the next week, which was 31st of May, to hold it. And look at how beautiful that candle was. And once again, we managed to close this one over, you know, this primary region of support now that I'm looking at. I'm actually still leaning bullish on Cardano. In fact, just look at the technicals, and I'm seeing an ascending triangle on the daily time frame, Sean. I think it's looking good on the weekly, and I'm noticing a bullish pattern on the daily time frame, and so bullish it is for me. What are your thoughts?
Well, Cardano has literally been, I believe you sent out an email like a few months ago, where you just caution people to not overtrade Cardano because it's been such a beautiful chart to trade the trend on, right? And I'm looking
Yeah.
at the dynamic right now, and it's literally been holding the dynamic ever since that initial call that we got around here, right? So we didn't get in at this call. We got around the 22 cents region, of course, but people who did get in over there and just stuck with the trend the entire time, well, they've been, again, we did not even lose the dynamic on Cardano. We lost it on Bitcoin, right? We did not lose it on Cardano, which is why we've been very impressed with the shot. Each time it's come down to bounce on the dynamic, it's just been a buy opportunity, right? You just have to hold your nose, understand that, hey, I'm trading this for the long term, right? Especially the Cardano bulls out there. If you guys really believe in Cardano, there's absolutely no reason to lose faith or lose hope on this, especially when I'm looking at this as a trend trader and I'm bullish on it and I know nothing about Cardano's fundamentals. It really saddens me to see people who are Cardano bulls get down and sad about this, because there's nothing to get down about. I'd be happy, because if I were like a fundamental Cardano bull, I'd be like, damn, this is really holding ground and it's looking fantastic. And Kusha, in regards to Cardano, over the past few weeks, I've been talking about a certain resistance zone that not a lot of people have been looking at, around $1.65-ish, right? I marked out that zone. I've been looking for Cardano to close the weekly above that. That's essentially a mid zone on the weekly, but it's also a major daily level. And waiting for the weekly to close above it, and we did that last week. We tested the top of the zone at around $1.85, closed above the mid of the zone at $1.64, and now the next step now is only to close above the top of the zone at $1.85, and we'll be looking towards the highs again at $2.45.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah! And also, by the way, with that level that you just mentioned, $1.65, I believe. Daily 21 EMA lines up there.
Ooh,
so
let's go ahead and take a look.
There's a bit of influence in that region. Yeah, Cardano. I feel like, how about this? If the markets actually start moving up from here, if Bitcoin actually does rip to the upside, I think Cardano is going to have one of the better moves.
Yeah, Cardano is definitely showing strength over here. And remember what we say, guys, at Mango, keep an eye on the strength during these bearish environments, because those strong coins are likely going to retain that strength going into the next bull run.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Sean, what about your Sol trade? So Sean actually posted, by the way, seedlings. I'm not sure if you guys caught it, but Sean posted an amazing Solana trade setup in the seed setups chat. Yeah, and that actually panned out really well.
Sol is the only trade
I did not take a trade on that. Yeah, Sean did. Let's talk about that. Give us your thought process on, on that trade, on that particular trade setup.
It was, again, like, so the initial, so when you how do I put this? Essentially, right, going into any trade, guys, you need to first ask yourself, what is my context, what is my environment, and how am I trading this environment, right? You can't just look at a particular pattern or particular trend and say, hey, you know what, this is an ascending triangle, this is an Ichimoku break, this is a Kumo break, blah blah blah. You can't just say that. You have to look at your entire context and trade accordingly. So what context were we sitting in? We were sitting in the context of, hey, we are still in a consolidation zone on all the majors, right? We do not really know whether we're going to go into a prolonged consolidation phase, maybe a bull phase breakout, maybe a bear phase breakout. We don't know any of that. So what do we decide right off the bat? Well, we're going to be trading the ranges, and if we take it one range at a time. Each trade opportunity we have, we trade in the direction of the trend, right, to the range, take profits, and then wait for the next range trade opportunity on that same asset if there is one. So there are multiple ways to do that, right? You know what, it'd be better for me to just simply pull out the Discord. Maybe see it. So,
you mean the screenshots, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to pull that up. All right. Okay. Cool. You guys can probably see the Discord now. So I'm looking for the seed setups right over here. Okay, cool. So yeah, update on Sol BTC. No, this was the update. The initial post was right over here. Sol BTC potential range, potential breakout into range trade over here, right? So let me just zoom into that for you guys. You guys can see how I marked out again a very similar concept to what we were talking about in Bitcoin, where you use the combination of the ascending triangle and the symmetrical triangle to take a trade, right? And then you build on the trade. So you can see where I marked out that circle there, that green circle. That's your initial trade entry. That's like, all right, cool. Let's say you're supposed to take a 10 BTC position, right? You divide your trade into 5 BTC each. The first part of your trade at 5 BTC, you enter on the symmetrical triangle breakout. Then you enter the second part of your trade on the ascending triangle breakout on the retest. So let's go ahead and see how that played out. Well, we can go ahead and draw a ascending triangle first, right? Oh, I have it here drawn, right? Essentially, you guys can see that we got the break, got the perfect retest, right? Got the rounded retest as well, and then the continuation. So we hit our target, which was essentially right over here at around. So Kusha, by the way, this is where Sol got really interesting over the weekend. The target was actually at around 112,000 Satoshi, right? 112,000 Satoshi. So that was the target. Essentially, what I was looking at were these the left and right shoulders of the head and shoulders top that we had on Solana, right? You're looking for the shoulders as your target. Very, very simple trade over there, right? So in terms of the range trade, that's your target one. But this is where it got interesting. We hit the target, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do this for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and readjust the horizontal I had right over there, right? And you guys can see how we came and hit the target to the T, and we consolidated at the target. Okay, we consolidated at the target zone. But if you looked at the
I think your window is blocking your chart.
Oh, oops. My apologies, guys.
Yeah, for a second, even I was just like, wait a minute.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and reiterate what I just talked about, right? So essentially, ascending triangle over here broke towards the upside, right? Got your retest, your consolidation, rounded retest as well. So a lot of opportunity to enter that trade. But where was the target? A range trade target, because that was our base case. Okay, regardless of what your emotions may lead you to believe, once the trade initiates, you got to stick to the plan. So what was the plan? We start taking profits on the resistance zone over here, which is essentially your left shoulder, your right shoulder of this head and shoulders breakdown, right? So you're essentially targeting the shoulder resistance of the top that we previously had. Well, we got there. This is where it gets interesting. So the 4-hour time frame was consolidating around it, correct? Right? Very, very easy to see. Now, we did not have this breakout just yet when I posted the next part of the setup. What instead we looked for was, hey, what is the higher time frames telling us? Because we're going into a weekly close, right? You're going into a weekly close, and what is one of the things I've been talking about for like years now? I'm like, the 12-hour candle leading into the weekly closes, right? The 12-hour candles leading into the weekly close is really, really important. And if you switch to a 12-hour time frame, Gisha, you're going to see that while the 4-hour was at resistance, the 12-hour was actually consolidating above resistance. The same head and shoulder setup. Look at that.
Yeah, that was actually really beautiful.
Right? So now I'm going to switch back on over to the Discord. Hopefully you guys can see it. Get right over there. And that's essentially what we talked about, right? Update on Sol BTC. This was just yesterday. First range trade target hit. Now waiting for signs for either continuation or rejection over here. And we broke down what was happening. We looked at the 4-hour, essentially what we talked about. Then we looked at the 12-hour, like, hey, but wait a minute, what's going on over here? And then we looked at the weekly, which is the final step, right? You're like, okay, now how does the weekly look? And Krisha, the weekly is what really made me go like, all right, this is actually looking really good. I'm going to be adding on over to this trade. So the weekly looks like a freaking bull flag breakout, Krisha. It's just freaking fantastic to see something like this. I'm just going to turn off my Discord. Weekly looks like a bull flag breakout on Sol BTC, and it's fantastic to see something like this in this environment.
And that's the thing, right? This is what's kind of getting me skeptical. We're seeing Cardano looking freaking phenomenal. Now this is what Sol is up to. So I'm gonna actually scour a bunch of charts today to see, you know, if we're kind of noticing turns on the altcoins, could be a good tip off. could definitely be a good tip off. Even VeChain for that matter. I think VeChain's daily trend is intact. Like I've been looking at some of these altcoins. They're looking good. They're beginning to, at least at the very least, start those uptrends that you want to see being established on the daily time frame, right? That's the beginning. That's the first sign. I think the ultimate sort of bang is going to be on the weekly. The weekly, as soon as we start putting in a beautiful structure on the weekly time frame, I'm saying, yeah, might be heading. It's going to be a path to recovery.
Yep.
There's a big narrative, Sean, of of a prolonged, not a prolonged, what is it, a super cycle?
I think so, something along those lines, that hey, this is the bear market unfolding, and then we're going to go into another bull market that will take us all the way to 200,000. Hey, that kind of lines up with what we've been talking about since 2019, I believe, right? We talked about how we're going to be seeing shorter cycles, shorter bursts. I've been saying that hey, we're going to see bursts of bull market cycles along with bursts of bear market cycles that don't last as long as people think. And we've been seeing that unfold. That's interestingly does line up with what we talked about in December, right? We talked about how the summer of this year is likely going to be the top of the market. But again, I didn't trade it that way, right? I didn't trade for 50,000 to be the top of the market. So saying one thing and trading it is two different concepts entirely. So let's see how it unfolds.
It's gonna be a good time. I'm noticing that the vibe is still very different from, well, the last time. Even last time when we sort of topped off, people were still, that euphoria was still very much there.
Yep.
It was only when things really started to taper off. And guys, I mean, Bitcoin was at, think about it, 20K all the way down to I think 6K. I think it's only 6K people really got like super disheartened, and that drop was like a nail in the coffin kind of thing, from 6K to 3K. So this sort of dynamic right now, at least with market sentiment, is very different from the last major bear move that we actually saw Bitcoin take.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, Kusha, so with that, I think we've covered everything that we wanted to cover this morning. Bitcoin, we're again still waiting for that 4-day consolidation to make a decision. Some of the altcoins are looking really good. Cardano is looking fantastic, and Solana is definitely looking fantastic. We can go through the comments real quick. I see all these in here. AJ Smalls is in here as well. How's it going? He says the 4-hour resistance line was different than the 12-hour resistance line. Yeah, it was, man. That's essentially what I posted in the C chat. But it was over the weekend, so you probably missed it. We did have okay, I can go ahead and pull it up, show it to you guys again. The 12-hour head and shoulders, right? The neckline of the left and right hand shoulder was lower than the 4-hour neckline right over there, which is why multi-time frame analysis is so important, right? I've been talking about this for years now, but it's really important to keep an eye on the high time frames, and this was an opportunity for people to look at the high time frames and actually get a better trade. Usually the high time frames makes you wait for a trade, but often the high time frames will get you into the trade earlier than the lower time frames, especially in an environment like this. In fact, the 4-day on Bitcoin might be signaling a long signal if people are looking at the right signs, and we won't talk about that right now though.
Things are beginning to look super here. Also, guys, I'm noticing there's a lot of interest in some of the altcoins. I do intend on covering altcoins as well. So if you have any requests, just go ahead and mention in the comment section. Okay, so as soon as I see that there's a general consensus on a certain altcoin in the comment section, I will be covering that. So if you want it to be covered, comments.
Yeah, so essentially, the best way for us to know which altcoins to cover. So for example, we did cover a video on Eng the other day because someone requested it, but not too many people were interested, right? And it's not really a good use of our time to do something that no one is really interested in watching. So the only way we'll know is for you guys to actually leave a comment, and when we seek consensus on a certain coin. One of the reasons I started trading Cardano was because of you guys, right? You guys kept asking about Cardano. I pulled up the chart. I'm like, holy, this is actually looking really, really good. It was a similar story with Chainlink. So we are relying on you guys just as much. You guys are relying on us. So you guys got to leave those comments down underneath the video so we guys can refer back to them. We guys. That's what I just said. We guys.
No man, the altcoins ban, Sean. I'm actually just going through the list right now. The alts are looking. The alts all have had really interesting weekly closes. I think it's gonna be fun covering them.
I agree. It's gonna be a great week. Siddharth is in here. How's it going? So that says why most of the charts move so similar on short time frames. Are they the same participants? Yes, they are, man. Yes, they are. It's not the same. So that's edge. Just think about that's edge, right? You're now beginning to see that all of these assets pretty much move in tandem. And what are they all benchmarked to? Bitcoin, right? Understanding how Bitcoin moves will give you an edge on all of these assets, right? The reason, by the way, all these charts move so similar is because the market participants are similar in many of them, yes, but just assets in general, right? People have similar behavioral patterns that get replicated on the charts. Now, crypto traders have a more similar behavioral pattern than traditional market traders, right? For example, so you're going to see crypto traders trade a certain way, traditional market traders trade a certain way. You're going to see traditional markets, traditional assets all have a similar look to them as well. Speaking of that, Kusha, we should wrap up with a quick look at how the 10-year yields are looking.
Oh yes. Also, guys, those mentioning the altcoins that you guys want me to cover, just so as soon as we've ended the stream, I think the comment section below the video is going to be open. So just mention it up there, and yeah, it just helps me sort of go through them because the chat is always moving, right? So it's just hard to scroll up.
So again, the big scary thing for me, this is the truth, guys. If the yields did actually break towards the upside over here, I would have got bearish on Bitcoin. Like looking for a bear market, right? I've been looking for a bear market, but instead we did break down over here, which was a good sign. And now we're not seeing, rather we're seeing the struggle to break back up over here. Yields are struggling to get back up higher. If we do see this breakdown over here, it's going to be a great sign. This is suggesting that the bond market was way ahead of the game, and while the rest of the market has been screaming inflation recently, the narrative for inflation has been picking up steam. They were way ahead of the curve, and instead of actually seeing strength over here with this narrative strengthening, the bond market participants seem to be selling into that, right? They are actually buying bonds over here because we're not seeing these yields go up, because you're seeing the bond market actually see an increased sell-off if they weren't happy with the pricing of the yields over here, but they seem to be pretty happy with this at the moment at the very least, which is great for, in my opinion, Nasdaq and Bitcoin. Because again, in my opinion, I was talking to Krish about this just yesterday, is that Bitcoin currently is moving like a growth equity, right? So it's being treated as a inflation hedge as well as a growth equity, so it has that advantage going for it. So keeping an eye on the yield on this, guys, is going to be giving us an edge leading into the next bear phase, if we do have one. If this starts beginning to break towards the upside, and we do see Bitcoin break towards the downside as well, well, that's going to be a big red flag. So we're seeing this consolidate just while we start seeing Bitcoin start showing some strength as well. So let's see though. I'm not convinced yet. I want to see this break down. I want to see these lows get taken out. I want to see this close candles underneath $1.45, 1.45. So yeah. Yeah. Any questions, guys, before we wrap up? Candace Gray, does it have to do with correlation with Bitcoin dominance? What exactly are you talking about, Candace? Are you referring to the 10-year yields? No, it has nothing to do with Bitcoin dominance. Which are you here, by the way? I can't
yeah,
hear you.
I'm right here. Yeah, no, I'm right here. I just had to.
Bitcoin dominance, I'm not looking the best either anymore. We did.
And
I was hoping for this to put in a higher low over here, but as soon as we took out this low over here on a candle closing basis, it was pretty evident that this uptrend was not going to be sustained, and all coins do have the advantage yet again. Well, we're now perhaps putting in a this. Yeah, this is the easiest way to look at Bitcoin dominance, guys. Is it's in a downtrend, right, against altcoins. Bitcoin is in a downtrend against altcoins.
Yeah, I think it's looking like it wants to come back down to test those lows on that index there, 40. Yeah, you're seeing that as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Rodrigo asks, what's your opinion on trading without leverage? Is that what accumulating means? No, you could accumulate a large position with leverage, right? People assume that trading with leverage is trading is being a risky trader, and you're doing something stupid, etc., etc. And again, no, using leverage, guys, it's a tool. Leverage is a tool, and you gotta think of it as like a carpenter with a chainsaw, right? A skilled carpenter with a chainsaw will use it to protect himself from getting injuries using more mundane tasks, right? Doing more mundane tasks. So leverage is a very, very, very similar tool that allows traders to protect themselves from other risks. So you can use leverage to protect yourself from counterparty risk. You can use leverage to be more efficient with your capital, right? That's the big one, right? You can have your capital allocated in 2 different exchanges. You can have your capital split up and have it only on one exchange and into your hardware wallet, for example. Mitigate that counterparty risk. You do not need to use leverage to increase your risk exposure. In fact, at Mango, we use leverage, and we have an entire module on leverage trading where we use leverage to reduce risk, right? To use it to our advantage. So yeah, my opinion on leverage trading is use it wisely, though. If you don't understand how to use it, don't use it.
Yeah. And I think the crypto market is, it's a very rewarding market in general because of how volatile it is. So sometimes when people, especially in like, outright bull markets, when people just lever up, I don't know, it beats me every time. Like there's already so much just to be made on the ranges. It's not a market that's not trending. I understand, people actually levering up on markets that aren't trending, but this one actually is, and you're able to get like good 2, 3, 4x wins on some of these coins in a raging bull market.
CMEs have been putting in high lows on the daily too, Krisha. It's key to note.
So wait, say that again?
Apologies, I just went off on a different thought process. So the CMEs have been putting high lows as well. So usually if you see a disparity between CMEs and traditional, those high lows could get negated, but we are putting high lows on the daily time frame on CMEs. So who knows, this may actually break up, but again, Bitcoin has some time to go. This could be a bear flag still, right? Could look at it either way. But yeah, chainsaws protect us against zombies as well, says AJ Smalls. John, thoughts on Floyd versus Logan Paul? Floyd, man, I don't understand what's going on over there at all. Just a marketing gimmick to make money during this these lockdown phases. Tai Wai says, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Sean and Krisha are awesome, loving the tag team action tonight. Yeah, appreciate the sweet, the kind words, Tai. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Tai.
All right, guys, with that, we're going to be wrapping up. Krisha, any final thoughts?
No, I think we've covered the meat of the market today. But yeah, so as soon as we publish this video and you guys want us to cover like any like particular altcoin, given that it's got ample price history, it's not an outright, well, shitcoin, mention in the comment section below. Okay, so the comment section will only be active once we end this stream.
All right, with that, guys, do the mango way, do the easy way, do the stress-free way. Ciao.
Ciao, guys.